Quake will go down in history as one of the greatest multiplayer games of all time. It's fast, it's smooth, and it was revolutionary for the time. But the single player is no slouch either. In fact, there are many good things about the single player campaign that can be said. One of these aspects is definitely the music. If you're a big fan of 9 Inch Nails, then you would love this soundtrack. I want to talk a little history first. Do you remember Doom? Yeah, wasn't that a great game? Well, it was so great that even frontman Trent Reznor of 9 Inch Nails thought it was a great game. After Doom 2, id Software began working on a new project. Previously teased in Commander Keen, this new project would be called Quake. However, this news might shock you a little bit, because Quake wasn't originally intended to be a first-person shooter. No, it was actually supposed to be an RPG of sorts, with magic and fantasy. Many design changes later, and Quake then became an FPS because of time constraints. You see, id Software at the time was being split apart by Quake. They couldn't decide what to do with the game, because John Romero wanted it to be what the original intention of it was, an RPG. Then it started becoming more towards the side of Doom, with just first-person shooting action. One thing that might surprise you a little bit about the original development of Quake was that there wasn't supposed to be any music. Instead, it would rely on ambient sounds from the game itself to set the atmosphere. While Trent Reznor of 9 Inch Nails was brought up to do sound effects and more stuff, and he thought, hey, let's get some music in here because I can do this very well. And he did. And we got one of the greatest video game soundtracks of all time, in my opinion. I absolutely love this soundtrack. The distorted guitars, the chilling screams, the ambience that it sets, the atmosphere it sets. I mean, there's nothing else better than it. I'm a big fan of 9 Inch Nails and Trent Reznor in general, so all of this stuff is just really pleasing to me. The theme for Quake is a very distinctive theme in itself. It sets the eerie atmosphere perfectly with distorted guitars, chilling screams, and then it kind of mellows out into this kind of like bone-chilling atmospheric thing. That's what this whole album does really well. The dark and gritty atmosphere of Quake. Because Quake, if you've played Quake, you know how dark and dismal it is. Everything's a shade of brown, everything is very just grim. You can hear it's very gothic. It fits the atmosphere perfectly. Combined with the dreadful look of Quake, it nails its atmosphere perfectly. I know I've been saying that a lot, but I can't stress it enough. Atmosphere is what holds this soundtrack and game together. Because not only is it one of the greatest, it's one of the greatest immersion feelings I've ever gotten in a game. I really recommend this album if you're a big fan of Trent Reznor or 9 Inch Nails. Even if you're not, I think you should definitely check it out because it's one of the coolest atmospheric soundtracks. Kind of like Silent Hill in a way. Except, you know, if Silent Hill had distorted guitars and chilling screams.